Okay. This is, well, horror remake week, I guess. Feels very familiar.
Yes.
At least for one of these, we've done the original Fright Night. But I've never seen the original Blob.
Me neither. Made me really want to watch it this week, but I didn't. I'm going to. Okay?
Well, you have to tell me how it goes, I guess. Oh, man. So, our poll for this week, Fright Night, pretty much YouTube and Instagram, they were like, no, not at all, sorry. Twitter was like, yeah, we've seen it. And I'm like, really? And then the Blob, it's a little bit more smattering. Some people had, some people hadn't. It's like, I don't know, I mean, it always surprises me, I guess, what people have and haven't seen. Yeah. But I think out of the two, I think probably the Blob is more cultish. At least for, like, the remake.
Yeah.
More people probably know of, like, the original Fright Night more than the... Or at least have seen it, not that they wouldn't know. But.
Which one should we get into first?
Let's see, how did I take my notes here? I guess we could do it in any order, but I took notes for Fright Night first, so that must have meant I watched that one first.
Ah.
But we can do
Good
the
deduction,
Blob first.
Sherlock.
Yeah, I know, right? Which
Fright
one?
Night.
Okay, there you go. I guess we'll do that one first. Yeah, so this one, 2011, I think, for this one.
Yeah. I remember when it came out, I was not interested in seeing it. Kind of just came and went. But then over the years, I've heard people, saying, "Oh, it's not bad. It was actually pretty good."
Yeah.
It kind of was like a wet thud, released like a.
Yeah, I hadn't even seen the original when this one came out.
So. I don't think I had either. I was
a
late bloomer to that.
There was no reason for me to be interested in a remake of a movie that I'd never seen in the first place.
See our previous episode.
Yeah. But, yeah, I honestly don't even really remember too much about it when it first came out. I might have seen a trailer at one point, but, like you said, it kind of came out. And...
I really like Colin Farrell, but it wasn't enough to get me to see it until now.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I think I was kind of in the same boat. I didn't really know too much about it other than I was like, okay, this is, I guess, a vampire movie? Like, whatever. But yeah. So yeah, this stars quite a few people that either at the time were just coming up or had already done stuff. But yeah, Colin Farrell and David Tennant and the sadly departed Anton Yelchin or whatever, right? I think most people probably know him more from he was in the Star Trek films. The
Scotty. No, not Scotty. Chekhov.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it was Scotty. It was the dude from like
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was something. He was in the movies. But trying to think if there was anybody else in this I kind of remember. Like, I think those are kind of the main players in this.
Yeah. Forgot about McLovin.
That's right.
How could you?
Yeah, I have some stuff to say about that once we get to that part of the film.
So what'd you think of Fright Night? Did you enjoy it for real?
Overall, I did quite a bit. I
thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was definitely like Colin and David Tennant for me carried this film.
Big time.
Anton was good, but he was also kind of just there, like you know what I mean, like
a straight man,
right?
Not
yeah,
a real huge part to play.
Yeah, because Colin was like, "Hey, I'm the bad guy, so I get to play a certain way," and David Tennant was the other way, and kind of in the middle, you gotta have like the, freaking Costello or whatever, like
the audience surrogate.
Right. Yeah. It had been a bit since I'd seen the original, so some of my notes in the beginning, on reflection, might not make sense because I was getting absolutely pissed at certain points, but then I was like, oh, this is kind of what happened in the original. With, like certain characters. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Mm-mm.
No, you don't. Mainly McLovin. But, I thought the intro was pretty cool. It was a cool mood setter. With a commercial for Peter Vincent at the Hard Rock in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That's kind of the updated thing. He's more of like a Chris Angel in this one.
Totally.
Than like in the original it was like, he was like a,
Vincent Price.
Yeah, Vincent Price, yeah.
Horror legend.
Right. So it's like Peter Cushing and Vincent Price. So like Peter, yeah.
Edit point.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to have to edit that. Holy shit.
Whoever's listening to this is like...
Yeah, they're going to be like...
Nightmare.
Hold on, I think I'm getting a call. They like turn and there's like blood coming out of their ear. Fucking... All the animals are going fucking nuts out there. They're going...
It's the rapture.
God's coming down in the chariot. It's like, man. Okay. So what were we talking about again?
I don't,
Something. Oh, about, Peter Cushing and Vincent Price being, like, the name, essentially, for Peter Vincent and stuff. And they essentially carry on all that stuff in this one with the names, at least.
Yeah.
I think the main thing as far as, like, how people act in this is David Tennant's Peter Vincent versus the original with Roddy McDowall. The way that they're played up and stuff like that.
As far as I know, I've never seen him before in anything.
Like David Tennant.
Mm-mm. I wasn't familiar with him. And
That's
when he
shocking.
first came on the screen, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it's kind of a big performance, but
Yeah.
then it started totally working for me, and I thought he was great. It was just a little jarring for me at first.
Yeah,
Especially since I had no familiarity with him.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I bring him up, and you're probably like, you haven't ever said anything, so I was like, oh, maybe he's just
I've never seen
had
Doctor
nothing
Who.
to add. Yeah, I think
I'm like Doctor Who.
he's been in like a bunch of stuff other than that, but like a lot of it I think is like BBC dramas and stuff, so what the fuck is this note? Gunlock fails the young lad, and a clawed hand grabs him as he hides under the bed. I guess I was like
That's the thing that happened.
turning into fucking an author or something. I don't know what the fuck I was. The gunlock fails the young lad. That's something that's kind of interesting in this movie too. Is, for at least from what I can remember, different from the original, about Peter Vincent's connection to the main vampire in this. Whereas in the original, there really wasn't one, other than he was like a reluctant, helper. Which I thought it was pretty interesting. I didn't see that coming because I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Glad they shook up the formula a little bit.
Right, yeah. But they kind of show like the intro, which at first when you're watching it, you're like, you don't think anything other than, okay, this is just a prelude to action that's about to happen. But in context, it's like, I feel like if this was made these days, they would be like, they would put like the year and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And they didn't do that because it ties into like, oh, this didn't just happen like a couple days ago. This happened like years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, holy shit. The neighborhood being like literally a square in like a Sims game where it was like in the desert, just I was like straight up isolation. Holy shit.
Yeah, they changed the location to Vegas, which
Yeah.
was made for some interesting differences.
Right. It's definitely, I felt like there was a lot of times where it was like isolation because of it and stuff, because you really have just that neighborhood, where it's in the original that's kind of how it was, but it was only because it's just how the movie
Some
was.
generic suburbs.
Right. I guess we can go ahead and talk about it now, but like, the whole setup for this is like, some of his friends or, people from school start going missing, like, Nick and Adam are missing from class, and then McLovin is like, this is fucking bullshit, you used to be my friend and all this crap. And then he starts, like, blackmailing him, like, you used to fucking put my Stretch Armstrong around your balls, and I was like...
You forgot the best part, and jerk off for an hour. So specific. And I was like, this definitely wasn't an improv line.
Yeah.
I hated that.
No, I just hated that fucking character. I was like, Christopher Mintz-Plassey's character, Ed, in this sucks. I was like... Because it's like...
I don't have a problem with him, when his scenes felt like they were like, Judd Apatow, let him riff.
Well, I mean,
I'm
not like trying to shit on him. I'm just saying, like, it was just either the way he like acted as that character, or like the way it was written was shit. I was like, because it's like, I can understand maybe, like, I mean, even then it's kind of like, so like the whole thing is that like the main character, you're supposed to side with him, but like, how can you when you find out all this stuff about, oh, he turned his back on his best friends, and this other guy ends up being like a total like he essentially like forces him to like be his friend again, and I was like,
I think in general the script wasn't a strong point of this movie.
Yeah,
it was pretty generic, and I don't know. But yeah, it was the worst. The McLovin scenes.
Well, it just sucked because it was like, if you're trying to get sympathy for the main character, why even have this character act like this? Why not be like, hey man, we need to, him be like, okay, let's go find out, or something like that.
It was so much better in the original.
Right. Also, wasn't in the original like he already like kind of into that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Like he got like essentially pushed into it by like his friend who like in this didn't even really need to exist. I was like, Jesus, dude, evil Ed, just so they could have him back.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, because in the original, was he like just like a bastard that like got turned or something?
Well, he was just a nerd. He was like the uber nerd.
Yeah.
Who only had one friend.
Until he got turned
into a beast.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how you were going to feel about that, but when I was watching this, I was like, page. Jesus.
I mean, that stuff just aged very poorly. If it was even good to begin with.
Well, it was just, and it was like the best friend fight. I was like, this sucks. Like
sitcom bullshit.
He was like, hey, I'm going to fucking let everybody know in the world that you've been putting your balls on my Stretch Armstrong. And I was like,
next.
Why are you... Yeah, like, why are you... I don't know.
I did note that in when they were doing roll call in one of the classroom scenes, one of the kids was named Zach Taylor.
Yeah.
I was like, so that's where he was
in
2011.
He was learning how to not call aggressive plays.
Ooh. Burn. You burnt.
Maybe, like, the zombie he saw the vampire, and he was like... He's like, no. Colin Farrell in this is the vampire. Jerry. Good stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, he was great.
And the original guy shows up in this as like the
Chris Sarandon. I was happy to see him come back, but
he's like,
if you're comparing the two, I think Colin Farrell wins. Like Chris Sarandon's fine in the first one, but
I totally agree.
Great in this.
Yeah, I really like
Colin Farrell. He's always great.
Yeah.
So I wasn't surprised.
Well, it was also, I mean, there are things in the original that was done better, but there are things in this that was done better than the original, and that's definitely one of them, because, like you said, I like him, but it was also, like, he almost always came off like he didn't give a shit, and it was like, and this was like,
he was great in this.
He was more menacing.
I really liked him and his little character in this one, though.
Of him getting fucking destroyed. He's like, help me! Colin put a fucking Stretch Armstrong around him and killed him. He's like, I'm blackmailing you. Be my best friend now. I'm like, okay. Jesus. Anton is testing Colin to come in without asking.
That was a good scene.
He's like, it's like, yeah. And he comes in, he's like, oh shit, whoops.
Dude, later when he's like, okay, if you're not going to invite me in, so I'm just going to blow up the house. I was like, genius. That was great.
Yeah, I was like, well, he was like, yeah, I was like, okay, holy fuck.
Never seen that in a vampire movie.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I was like, okay.
I really like most of, like, once this movie gets going, the action and stuff was really good. But my only other real major complaint is this movie looked like shit. Like, it looked like a CW show. Like, it looked totally generic. And, like, the night scenes were so dark. They do that thing where it's, like, so dark you can barely see what's happening. I thought it looked horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have that problem on my end when I was watching it. I guess maybe your mileage will vary on what your TV is set on.
Digital photography just looked shitty to me. But maybe that's a me problem.
Sounds like it.
But I thought it looked like something you'd see on CW.
Maybe, I don't know, like, I could see maybe, like, yeah, like a filter, yeah, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have any, like, brightness issues, really.
I did watch this on Tubi, so maybe it was a Tubi problem, too.
Yeah, I didn't watch it like that, but, like, I've seen so many things, like, episodes of Game of Thrones where it's literally so dark that it's like if you have the lights out in the house, you can't see anything. So it's like, I guess I'm not used to it, but like, it's definitely, I think it was light enough to see what was going on in most cases when you needed to. So at least for me, I didn't, but yeah.
It was worse during the car chase scene, because that was like takes place at the dead of night.
Yeah.
And it was a struggle. I was like, what is this, Solo?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have any issues knowing what was going on.
Whoa.
I'm just looking at my notes where it's like I'm going back and forth on fucking Ed still all the way down here. It's like, Jesus.
Luckily, he's not in the film all that much.
Yeah. Colin's trying to bait Anton into a fight. Your mom and girlfriend are giving a scent. I was like, okay. So, yeah, Colin's like, essentially the cops show up because he calls them on Colin, and they're all like, huh, like, they just laugh it off and stuff, and it's like, he's able to have them in the palm of his hands. It's like, I think that's another thing, too, that I don't remember too much from the original, that, like, he's way more, like, suave in this, too, and able to, like, kind of hold everybody.
Yeah, I think that's fairly similar with the original. It's like the debonair, charming vampire lord.
Maybe it was more so in the original, actually, now I think about it, because that was really the only thing he had going for him, was that.
He went to that nightclub and everyone wanted to jump his bones.
I was like... So what'd you think of Colin's, like, freaking BTK room or whatever, behind the closet? Yeah. I was like, Jesus!
Got a serious operation going on.
Yeah. I was like...
But I thought it was cool, because, that was very different.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't expecting that. I, like, blinked and I was like, wait, what? The fucking back of the closet came open and he's holding, like, the neighbor there, and they finally escape, and she, like, turns into fucking dust.
Dude, she explodes.
Yeah, and I was
awesome.
like...
That was probably one of the coolest things in the whole movie.
Because I was like, holy fuck, dude. Like, you think that they're going to get out, and they do, but she's already been, like, turned.
That was great.
It's like, oh, Jesus.
This movie's got some good stuff to it.
For sure. Could you tell, like, what Colin was watching when they were escaping? They were watching, like, some random he was watching some reality show and like laughing about it. I don't know what it was though. So it's something around 2011 probably.
Like that Brett Michaels, or not Brett Michaels.
Brett Michaels.
What was that, like the dude from? I can't know.
I almost thought it was maybe the Kardashians, but I don't think it was that. By this point, I had stopped, I think, watching reality shows a long time ago.
The dude from Poison who did Every Rose Has Its Thorn. You remember when he had that show? It was super popular for like a couple years there. I'll think of it later.
We'll have to edit it. Now I'm wondering what the fuck you're even talking about. Like,
you'll know what I'm talking about.
I thought it was interesting because we earlier this month had watched Let Me In, and in that one, Chloe Grace can't eat anything. Like, she can only have blood. And in this, like, Colin was like drinking beer and like eating an apple. He could pretty much do whatever he wants. Like, in this, the lore is that like that's not a thing.
Yeah. Brett Michaels' Rock of Love. Remember that? It was super popular for like one season.
Yeah, I never heard of it before. Was it on VH1 or something? Or
yeah, probably.
Oh, okay. I wonder if that came after that Flavor of Love.
Yeah, probably right around the same time.
Probably like a ripoff or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, not a ripoff, but the title.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe all the people who got fucking reality shows back in the day, like the Osbournes, that Hulk Hogan, freaking Flavor Flav, which is like
Vern Troyer.
Damn it.
What?
No, I'm just laughing thinking about him fucking pissing in a corner. He's like, and eating that sushi. He's like, I'm like, rest in peace. What a man. So,
remember when David Hasselhoff ate that burger off the floor?
Oh my god. He was like drunk as fuck, dude. He was like,
floor burger.
yeah. He's like, you're like the bug zapper out here. Human bug zapper. Brett Michaels. I don't know if it was any of those, so sadly.
It was worth doing the research.
Yes, it was. So, like, they go to, like, he finally is like, okay, well, I believe this, you know, like, now. And he goes to track down David Tennant, Peter Vincent, in Vegas. He's having, like, a, you know, he's getting ready for a show or whatever. And, I didn't really even think about it till now, but it's, like, the amount of, like, work that, like, Anton goes to here to sneak in, it's like, dude, if you just put that much work into, like, you'd probably be able to kill fucking the vampire, like, instantly. Because he, like, fucking, like, Mission Impossibles, and he, like, steals, like, a press pass and, like, all this other crap, and just walks in, and it's, like, no big deal. I was like, what?
Yeah. Showed some good initiative.
Dude, fucking David Tennant, vampire walked by him and he's like, I fucked her. Filthy. Like Austin Powers style.
Yeah, totally.
I was like, dude. Of course, I had seen David Tennant in so many things, and obviously he's not always like this, but like, you know, he has a way about him and stuff, and I was like loving every minute of this. But I was definitely like cracking up when I found out that he like takes all that stuff off, and it's like, you know, it was all obviously like, you know, like fake beard, fake, you know, everything essentially, fake hair. It was like, yeah,
it's a nice touch.
And like something that's a little different in this is that like he's actually really successful, whereas in like the original one, like Peter Vincent, like Roddy McDowell, is kind of on the downturn.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like, you know, on his last legs, and they're like about to cancel his show essentially.
Yeah.
And
Put him out to pasture.
all the stuff that he has on his show are like props that, you know, are there for essentially like that they've been made for his show. Whereas in this, it was kind of interesting because like this versions of like Peter Vincent, he actually like collects real relics and stuff like that. And even that, people were like, oh, it's probably like for show and stuff. But you find out later it's like actually not.
Yeah.
Like he's been kind of preparing for something. I didn't. So he's like drinking this stuff, and he's like, it looks like pee, but I'm hooked. I was like, what the fuck is he drinking? I was like, okay. Yeah, I took a bunch of screenshots of fucking him when he's like, get the fuck out of my house! I was like, okay. Colin kills like the jock characters, and I feel like one of them seemed familiar.
Yeah, it was
Was it like the brother of maybe not.
Yeah, it was Dave Franco.
Yeah.
I checked out Roger Ebert's review. I was curious what he thought. He liked it. He gave it 3 stars. But I wanted to read the last line because it was...
I love the picture of your fucking keyboard.
This is the last line of his review. As vampire movies go, Fright Night is a pretty good one.
Okay.
Says it all right there.
Essentially gave up. He was like, fuck it. It's a pretty good one. And then he's just like, okay, I gotta go take a shit. I have like 4 notes in a row. They're all just like, Colin is doing this. Colin is doing this. It's like, wow, what fucking expertise.
What insight. He was doing lots of things.
Yeah, he tries to run them off the road. Colin lights the gas. When he runs them off the road with his car, the girlfriend says, "What the fuck?" They run him over with their car, and he's like holding on, like coming through the fucking floor.
It's much more of an action movie.
Yeah.
Than the original.
Yeah, for sure. I was like, holy shit.
That was cool. I liked it.
Dude, when he was like turned animalistic on the fucking Chris Sanderson or whatever, or Sarandon, he was like, help me! He shows up as the motorist, JD.
Ah.
Was that like do you think that had any tie to the original? Like, was there anyone in the original called JD?
I don't remember. It's possible.
Yeah. I was trying to think, but I didn't remember. Oh shit.
Another car chase happening over there.
This is like the perfect environment for a podcast to be fucking recorded.
I'm like, help me!
Yeah.
What'd you think of the, when he, like, turned into the Shark Man from the original, like, had the same look as the Shark Girl? What'd you think of that?
Oh, like when he was like...
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus!
I thought it looked like shit.
Yeah, I was like,
Horrible CGI in this movie.
It was, there were parts where I was like, holy shit, this is legit, but then it like would go too far, and I was like, okay. Like, I liked the part where they just... So, like, he gets stabbed in the back and goes fucking nuts, and then they, like, roll a car onto him, and you see, like, his hand kind of, like, reform, and it's, like, essentially in the dark, so you can't really see it too well. I thought that was cool because it was, like, you know, like, reforming and stuff.
Yeah, that was cool.
But there's stuff that happens at the very end of this movie that's, like,
Yeah.
He turns into, like, a bunch of people that don't even look like the character. It's like, Jesus. Or the actor, I guess I should say. Like, it doesn't look like the character, but it doesn't look like the actor either. So, like, Peter Vincent, this is kind of the whole thing that turns him around, is he sees, like, a picture that, like, Anton had left, and it matches up with, like, an old picture he had in a safe, like, from, like, a long time ago. And that's when he's like, holy shit, you know, like, the picture was, like, something that was in, the vampire's house, so he was like, wait a minute, if he has this...
It's for real.
Yeah. Then he specifically knows that the species is called the Snackers, I guess, because you find out that he's been tracking him forever and stuff, but, like, I don't remember there being specific species in the original one.
That was a new wrinkle.
I was like, oh, okay. And then David Tennant turns into a straight up fucking wimp. I mean, I know that was supposed to be funny, but I was like, Jesus Christ.
He turned into a wussy city wimp.
Right. It was like, he heard like a noise and this straight up fucking went into the panic room. He was like, yeah! So then they've got the confrontation between the friend and the ex-friend. So, thankfully they kill him.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It's like in the original, it was like, you felt bad for the guy.
That was like one of the best moments of the movie, because it was like deeply sad.
Yeah, you felt like
it was that real moment.
Right, I was going to say felt remorse, but it's like I didn't have anything to do with it. You felt sympathy for the character.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I felt remorse, because I did.
Pretty messed up.
Yeah, but in this one, it was like, kill this idiot.
Get this guy out of this movie.
So I guess if that's what they were going for, to hate one of their characters, they accomplished it.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. It's like, kill this freak. And then another person got turned to ash. I wasn't sure how this was going to go, because, like, they get separated at a rave, and he, like, Colin, like, grabs his girlfriend, Amy, and, like, bites her. And essentially it's like, well, now she's fucked.
Yeah.
It's the metaphysical cocking. It's not exactly something that, like, you can come back from, like, being bitten, but they, like, had laid, like, the groundwork that, like, hey, if you kill the head vampire, everybody that's underneath him, like, you know, is fine. It's like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
She doesn't make it out of the original, remember? She gets, roasted.
That's why I was a little bit like, I wonder what's gonna happen here. That was another thing they kind of changed or whatever. They kind of changed it. A stake blessed by Saint Michael is supposed to turn his victims back. So it's like a specific thing. You have to have the stake by Saint Michael. You can't just use like a regular thing to kill him. So he goes to a army supply store to buy a bunch of stuff run by Kyle Gass from Tenacious D.
You mean the former band member from Tenacious D?
The former band member known as Prince. There was like a huge underground lair under his house, and all I could think of was like, how the fuck has this not collapsed the house yet? Because it's literally just under his house, like a huge fucking gaping hole. I was like, it's like another city under here. Where I guess he's kept all the people that he's turned in the neighborhood. They're all like, at the lights of... It's like, piano data. They're all like... What was the thing called again? The not Flavor of Love, but the Rock of Love.
Yeah, Rock of Love.
I'm like...
What? I definitely watched
But it's like, what
episodes.
sense does that make? The Rock of Love? Like, as far as the sentence goes? The Rock of Love!
He rocks so hard.
It's the Rock of Love. Oh my god. David Tennant, they're down there and they can't see shit, and he just randomly turns on a light, and I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? I thought this was a cool change. Like, where he's like, look at you, you're all grown up. Peter Vincent, like, he's like horrified, and he's like, well, now it's Fright Night for real, because it's like, in the original, when they said it, we were like, what? Like,
so it wasn't real when you attacked him last night?
Right. In this one, he doesn't even say that to the kid, he says it to Peter Vincent, who was a kid, and he got away, and it's like, you know, is essentially like, now you're fucked.
Yeah.
And I was like, it actually had weight to it. Like,
Fixed
before it was like the original, I was like, okay,
it's
so
a cool line and a good delivery, but when you think about it, you're like, wait, what?
Well, it's like they're just trying to put the title of the movie in the fucking film, essentially.
Trailer moment.
And I feel like in this one they did it where they didn't have to, but they did it to like pay homage to the original in a way that actually made sense this time.
Yep.
Okay, maybe you're a little bit right about this, because I'm looking at this right now, and it's like, I can't see shit.
It looked horrible.
Maybe they put like a LUT over it. Maybe that's...
Yeah, it looks like they definitely messed
like,
with color
it was
timing.
fine. It was probably when they filmed it, you could see everything, and then they were like... What'd you think about David Tennant's like Austin Powers moment here, where he gets a fucking stone thrown at him, and he was like, who throws a stone, honestly?
I was cracking up.
Yeah. Yeah, here at the end, the best parts for me was like David Tennant, where he like uses his stake gun, he kills one vampire, and then it instantly breaks, and he's like, fucking eBay!
That was great.
And then like Peter Vincent is slowly turning, which is interesting, because that's not really something that happened in the original. So I'm torn, because there's a part of this end that I thought was kind of interesting, where like he lights himself on fire and latches himself to him, and then they're kind of, you know, going all over the place, and I thought that was kind of cool. Like, oh, that's a cool idea to like,
cool. Yeah.
like latch yourself. But then they like straight up fucking screw the whole thing over by like turning him into like a fucking. The last picture was so great it didn't even load. Cool. But it's like he turns into like a golem at the end, and it's like the thing that they do all the time, and not all the time in movies, but like when they're like, check out this effect, the fucking character looks right at the fucking camera, and it's like, okay, like what? Like he's dying, and he's like, I'm like,
Kind of ruined that moment with the crappy effects.
Right, yeah, and it's also one of those things too where like
less is more. Like they didn't have to do any of that, and it would have been way better.
Right, like because when they were jumping around and stuff, like if while that was happening, you know, Peter Vincent ends up like breaking through the stuff anyway. If like literally they just get him into that thing and he's just like fucked, and then he's just like, because it also fucks over Colin's like performance, because essentially in the last little bit of this movie he's not even there.
Turn him into Toontown. I'm like,
right,
all right, well,
it's like,
check, please.
It's like not only does it not even look like him, it's like, okay, well he's not even like getting the final like reaction to his character being
Dude
killed.
won an Oscar, like let him cook.
Yeah. But he was like, it just sucked, because I would have liked to have seen, you know, a little bit more of him. In the actual end, I would have liked to see his actual fucking death. Dude, the last one was fucking like the most fucked up looking thing ever, because he turned from like a monster into like a pale demon into like a fucking like frozen, or like a frozen, like a, you know, like a, I'm fucking starving to death. He was like, ooh, I need money and food. You know, it was like, looked like shit.
Yeah.
And then Peter Vincent popping back in as David Tennant. Yeah. And,
Peter Vincent as David Tennant. Huh?
What'd you think about Anton being fucking ripped for a nerd? I was like, I don't buy this shit for a second. Because at the end of the fucking film, Peter Vincent's like, hey, you guys fucking shag finally at my place. And they go to do that, and he comes back in, and he's just like, doing his fucking David Tennant thing. And he finally walks out, and you see him take his shirt off, Anton, and I was like, this guy was ever a fucking, like, I can't ever get women.
You should have been the freaking quarterback, dude.
Just take off your shirt in gym class one time. I was like... But, yeah, it was shocking. Well, I wasn't, like, shocked. I was like... and then, they had blood-filled credits very of its time, but it was cool.
Yeah, so I think, like you, that ending was so shoddily done, it kind of ended on a sour note for me. But overall, as Roger Ebert said, it's a pretty good vampire movie.
I think that, like, the stuff that... I'm glad they added stuff on at the very end, because if that was, like, the last thing that happened, I would have been, like, pretty pissed.
Yeah.
But seeing, like, David Tennant and then the credits, I was like, okay, this is fine. Another thing that's kind of different is, like, in this version... They definitively were like, our vampire's dead. Whereas in Fright Night 1, he, like, gets away for the sequel, which is diminishing returns, like, hardcore.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it was a good one.
Yeah, some ups, some downs.
Yep.
Compared to the original.
I'd say it's worth watching.
Yeah.
And I'd give it a 7.95.
Nice. I'll give it, like, a 9.95.
Hell yeah.
David Tennant's like in column.
You're like, perfect, no notes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, that's your prerogative.
Yeah. I felt like, especially if you're like a fan of either of them, it's totally worth it. Anton's good, and to not like be like, but it's like literally like we were saying, it's like, Abbott in the Abbott and Costello movies, sometimes he's kind of just there because that's what it calls for. It's not because he can't do any better. I'm not like, yeah, fuck him, he sucks. It was just, what are you going to do?
I mean, it takes talent to
he plays the
lead
role.
a film.
Right.
Which he totally does.
Especially at his age, too.
Yeah.
And it not be annoying, not
right.
like, so.
He understood the assignment.
He did. To act in a film he was hired to act in. Good job. Give him fucking points for doing the bare minimum. Now, he's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe you want to go back and watch the Star Trek films again.
Did you ever see that movie Green Room?
No,
dude.
You're like it sucks.
Might be my favorite movie that he was in.
Nice.
It's pretty intense though.
It's about like David Tennant running into a panic room. And then having green diarrhea.
It's about Anton Yelchin fighting Nazi skinheads.
Oh.
Led by Patrick Stewart.
He's like, check it out, guys.
Should we move on to the Blob?
Hell yeah. Let's go ahead and crack open the Blob-looking soda.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Like
exact same color.
It takes two to make a thing go right.
Dude, I'm glad you got that, because the whole time I was watching the Blob, I was like, I just want to taste that thing. It looks delicious.
You're like, and it's like, because of your head,
it tastes like bubblegum.
I guess I could have got a bubblegum soda, but I'm pretty sure that would have tasted like shit. Cheers. Peach from 1946.
That's good. It's pretty darn sweet, though.
Mario, I baked you a cake. Peach. Yeah, it's kind of like drinking a fucking Jolly Rancher.
Yeah.
Good lord. Man, you weren't kidding on the fucking sweetness.
It's like Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Low carbonated.
Kool-Aid if
it's
like
good.
Somebody was like, fuck it, sugar.
Yeah, like dump the whole packet.
Yeah. So this is interesting for this film to start off and like there be a TriStar logo, like the old one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man. Because this was 88.
Yeah.
Who are the major players in this?
Kevin Dillon, the mulleted one.
Is he the biker?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trying to think if there's that I can remember anybody. I mean, well, there were other people in this film, obviously. He's like, I played all the parts.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real headline star.
Right. I was just kind of wondering. I couldn't remember if there was anybody that I missed as far as like, you know, like cameos or.
Had you seen? You hadn't seen this before, right?
No, I mean, I'd seen clips of this. I think everybody probably at some point had seen clips because there's. I think the most famous one is the one dude that gets like enveloped by it, and he's like essentially gets eaten alive.
Yeah, the dude who you think is going to be the lead of the movie.
Yeah, that's like the original M. Night Shyamalan.
Right.
Like, holy crap.
Or Psycho.
Right. Oh yeah, true.
But
FICO.
But I think Shawnee Smith is like she's the lead in this. I think she's best known for this movie and being in the Saw franchise.
Oh, okay.
Which I've only seen the first one or two of those.
Yeah, I've seen the first two because I remember the first one was pretty.
I like the first one.
Holy crap! And then the second one was like
I'm out.
The fucking hands and the needles and shit. I was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Became. Anyway, this isn't a Saw review. I'm like, but that won't stop me now.
Did you notice your boy Frank Darabont in the credits as one of the writers?
Not really.
Writer of The Walking Dead.
Oh.
And director. The first season, who was then fired.
Yeah. We could talk about that.
Like, I had no idea he was involved in this one.
Yeah, I mean, like, if he was involved in The Walking Dead first season, he wasn't around for long. Sadly. Was he the main writer on this, or was this like there were like a bunch?
There were two writers in the credits, so I don't know if
he
took a pass at it or what.
Right. Yeah, because even if he had just done like a rewrite, they had to give him credit, obviously. So, Space, The Final Frontier.
I love any movie that starts in space.
Yeah. It was very...
Should have stayed there. I'm just kidding. I don't know why I said
I was like, well, I guess he didn't like the film.
The Thing... No, I really like this movie quite a bit. The Thing, Predator, this.
Yeah.
Always cool to see something flying in
that
you know isn't good. Starting causing trouble in the neighborhood.
Like this film. Yeah, I'm with you. I like this movie quite a bit.
It rocks pretty hard. It was great.
I will say that there's some stuff in this that kind of was like boring for me. Like, it kind of got to a point where I was like, I think it had like 80s syndrome where like they didn't know when to fucking just, like it was kind of like, it reminded me of like a Friday the 13th where like they jam-packed a lot of the fucking action and kills together, and then like a lot of nothing happens for like 30 minutes or more. And
yeah.
You're like,
Well, we should talk about the effects.
Yeah.
Because like I think these are some of the best effects I've ever seen in a movie.
Starring a Blob. No, yeah, I agree.
But I don't think it's a classic like The Thing or something like Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Because without the effects, there's be nothing in this movie. Like, the characters
are
all super generic.
It's kind of like Killer Clowns from Outer Space for me, whereas like...
Yeah, same thing.
The movie... I was going to say the movie fucking sucks, but like without the effects, the movie would fucking
There's nothing.
suck.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. It's the most generic plot ever. But
right.
It's a vehicle for the amazing effects.
But it's also like it's even if like the plot, I don't know. It's more so that also it's just kind of like not. It doesn't like grab you like as far as like there's no real hook here. It's just.
I agree. And like you, I think I was kind of bored in between Blob set pieces. I was just like waiting for the next one.
Well, it's weird because it seems like, I mean, the one thing they do in this that's definitely like something you don't see a lot in films, like especially just in general, like, is you can almost always tell who's gonna die and who's not gonna die. Now, having said that, there was a certain point where okay, these two people aren't the main characters, but like,
when that first dude gets it, it's pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Like, did not see that coming.
Then it started to, like, kind of set into, like, okay, Friday the 13th, we know that these side characters are going to die. I was a little bit shocked when, the main, like, the sheriff, from, Walking Dead, fucking Dale, ends up dying.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually, when that happened, I was kind of starting to get turned off from the film because I actually liked that character and thought it was an interesting character. He was actually one of the only interesting characters in the film, and they killed him off.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas, like, the character in the beginning, like the football player dude, I was like, this guy's kind of generic.
Oh yeah.
The diner lady's kind of same way. Like the cook, all the people that get killed for the most part is just like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like when they killed him, I was like, okay, like
he was a real character, not an NPC.
Right. It was very like Walking Dead-esque, where it's like they kill a character that actually was going places. It's like, oh, this guy is getting lines. Oh, he's dead this episode. But like, yeah, I was a little disappointed in that because like there wasn't a lot to latch on to.
I agree. That's what holds us back from being a masterpiece.
Yeah, which kind of stinks because like even the main like the one dude, the biker, the guy that's like dressed in like Austin Powers but with fucking the Fonz's jacket on. He's got like the fucking poofy shirt or whatever.
Dude, I couldn't get over that mullet. That thing was outrageous. And I love mullets, but holy crap.
Like his character, I was like, okay, like
didn't do much for me.
He was just kind of like, you know, it's like they had to have, I guess, a character in the movie that was like the main male, I guess, but
they set him up to be kind of a dork because he's like doing bridge jumping and he like totally fails on his and like
a bum laughs at him.
A dude watches him and was like laughs at him.
A
like,
homeless
okay.
guy with a dog is like, found your ass, you suck. But like watching that, I was just like,
so this guy just sucks, or
well, it's like he sucks, but he's also like a big enough of an asshole to like not. Apparently, he's been getting into trouble, so he doesn't even have like that. He's like someone that has been obeying the law, like a nerd. It's like, okay, so you're taking all the worst qualities of an outcast. He was like a super idiot. I think like the one lady ended up kind of being like the main, just like badass to a degree in this. But I felt like they kind of waited a little too long to do anything with her character as well. But this kind of takes place in like a sleepy Mayberry-like town. The beginning of this definitely kind of reminds me of like what that's thing with Stephen King where he finds that like thing in the woods and touches it and starts taking over.
The Lonely Death of Jordy Verrill from Creepshow.
He's
I
like,
think that's what it's called.
Yeah. But the homeless dude like finds this. It's like what is with like people finding this shit and instantly being like, I gotta touch it. Like I would, if I found fucking something that I saw come down from the sky, I wouldn't run over to it and start fucking trying to grab it.
I'd want to poke it with a stick.
I was like, okay, fucking that shit's got to be like 1 billion degrees.
I love the effect one. Because it gets on his hand and he's like, kill me! Which, I get that, but it was so amazing when he tried to chop his own hand off and it like slurped back.
Yeah,
in.
it was
I was
like, no.
Dude, that was awesome.
My thing was like, why did he go to the guy to do that? He like literally was like, ah!
Like,
and then he like ran off. I was like, why? Why is this a thing? They're at a football game, and the guy says, look at her, I think she wants your body. Dude gets tackled, guy on bench goes nuts, and the priest loves it. He's like,
dude, that priest, oh my god.
Yeah.
Give him the overacting award for this movie.
Pretty much. Condom capers at the drugstore with the priest. He was like, I'm getting these. He's like, I'm getting these for my friend. And he's like, and then it's like, yeah, he's like, I was like, he's like, oh. Yeah, he's like, but like he's doing like, he's showing, he's like, yeah, my friend is the one that wants these, lying, and later this person you think is going to be the main character comes to pick up the main girl, and the father is the owner of the pharmacy where they bought the condoms, and he's like,
It was cheap, but I did laugh at that.
oh yeah,
I thought it was funny.
I was like, wait a minute. That's when I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the kills were like, oh, this is pretty good. And then it was like...
There's one other aspect I thought was really cool. It was the explanation for the Blob, which normally I don't like when they explain stuff.
Yeah.
But I loved the origin of the Blob in this. I thought it was super interesting. The fact that it was caused by the folly of man. The corrupt government. And their disgusting experiments.
Yeah, I was kind of like thinking it was going to be like, this is just something that came from space, but it was like, they put a fucking like germ into space and it fucking came back and was like big.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, interesting.
I enjoyed that. It was cool.
I didn't really like it all that much personally, but like I did like the the fucking overacting and out of control shit from the main guy that was like, I don't give a fuck, kill all these idiots. And I was like, because he's essentially like there to...
He's the real villain.
Yeah, use the thing that they created against like other countries and stuff. And it's like, the way that it's progressing is it's like not gonna, it's gonna like not be stoppable. It's gonna take over the world. And he's like, I don't give a shit.
That dude's acting was totally out of control.
I was like, we got some classic sweater shrinkage antics where it's like a sweater was put into the washer and it shrank. It's like, dude, this happens in every movie. That's just happening all the time.
I'm glad you called that out.
So they take this homeless guy to the hospital, and you know, he's like, thank you. And they're gonna check on him later, and it's literally, he's just a torso because it like ate his ass. Even though if it was attached to his arm, why would it? I guess it's like, I get the feeling that the like Blob is sentient and kind of knows to like hide if it needs to, maybe, because like if it was just like, it would literally just kind of go from his arm and, you know, up, depending on, but it's like it goes below his body where it's hidden. And so,
it can do whatever it wants.
Right. It's just like, okay.
It's the Bam Margera of Blobs.
That's true. Susan's family. I like the biker guy says, take it easy, old dude. They'll fix you right up. I was like, okay. Maybe this guy's not like all bad. And
he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah. And that's when they say, okay, it's time to switch over to this other guy being the fucking lead. Because Paul gets fucking gooped alive.
Quite a disturbing effect.
Yeah.
But it was awesome.
He's like, yeah, help me! And I was like, you're fucked. Yeah, that's the first time I'd actually seen that in the film. I'd seen that clip like a bunch of times, so I kind of knew what was going to happen. But other stuff in this film I didn't see coming. Okay, I didn't see the what's his name, sheriff, just like kind of his head fucking like in the phone booth. I was like, Jesus,
that was amazing.
Yeah,
I think that was literally like a jaw drop moment for me. I was like,
holy shit. Well, I was more shocked when like the lady gets killed that was in the phone booth. Like I didn't.
Oh
know.
yeah, that's what the lady
when it crashes in and it like kills her, because I was like, oh, what's gonna? Because they set it up like she's gonna get away, like something's gonna happen. It's gonna distract it. And it's gonna leave, but it just kills the fuck out of her.
That was amazing.
I was like, holy fuck.
What about the dude that got pulled down the drain?
Dude, yeah. That's probably the most painful way, because it was like, holy fuck. It took forever.
He's like, yeah. Also, I was like, dude, those pipes are strong to be able to withstand, not like bust, pulling a human body through them.
They were like cartoonishly molding. I was like, okay. But like they go in and his arm and his legs are like sticking up like this. It's like, okay, so it pulled his fucking head through first. They're like, he was a good kid. I bet that SOB did this. And I was like, okay. Like, there's no proof, but they're automatically like, this one guy that's maybe had a little bit of trouble fucking killed the shit out of this guy. And it's also like, so the Blob killed him and then just completely left the area, I guess? It's like...
Blob's got a blob.
It's kind of weird.
It was in stealth mode.
Yeah. Guy from fucking Grease making a drink to get some action from Ellie Mae from the Beverly Hillbillies movie.
Oh, that was her?
Yeah.
Nice, I didn't catch that.
He essentially is like... He's a fucking predator, essentially. He's
yeah.
Dude... Oh, yeah. Fucking dog
He keeps
off.
trophies.
Yeah. He also has, he's all these rings, too. It's just like, okay, and he's like, makes these, like, fucking roofie coladas and shit.
It's amazing that he managed to keep all those bottles standing up in
Yeah.
the trunk of his car. It's like, dude, take some careful driving.
Yeah, he's got, like, a fucking bar in his trunk that he makes all these fucking horrible fucking cocktails.
Dog v. dog.
Yeah, I was
Whoever
like,
wins, we lose.
I was like, what is going on back there? I love how I'm loving Jeffrey DeMunn in this. And then, like, he's dead as fuck, like, a scene later. I'm like, fuck. But you find out the Blob doesn't like the cold.
Yeah. It's one weakness.
Yeah. So, like, the priest collects, like, frozen parts of the Blob at some point in this film, but, like, I thought that he was going to be, like, working for the government, but he's not. So, it's just kind of...
Was there any explanation for why he was
Why
doing
he does that?
Than just
No.
to set up the possible sequel?
For the end or whatever? Yeah, I that's what I was kind of wondering, like, what the fuck was going on with that? Like, he's just, like... I thought he did that to be, like, go to the government or go to the cops and be like, look, you know... But instead it was, like, he just collects the shit. And then you're like, what? I don't know. I'm glad you said something, too, or, like, thought of that, too, because, like, I was like, what? So, yeah, the government's, like, saying that, like, the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, they're like, it brought something. And I was like, are they talking about the Blob? But then they were like, actually, we made it. And I was like, what? I was like, oh.
Nice deception.
Yeah, pretty much. Guy in the projection booth is like, kill me! He's, like, on the ceiling, like... I was like... The Blob just tortures people, I guess, before he kills them.
Yeah.
Because they, like...
It's mean.
They get fucked up.
That's one mean Blob.
Another thing in this film that I was shocked by that a lot of films don't do is, like... They kill the fuck out of a kid in this film.
Yeah, the little kid bites the dust.
He, like, turned into, like, a fucking, like... atomic bomb fucking victim. Because he gets pulled under and then he comes back and he's, like, the fucking old dude from the Six Flags commercial. Yeah, he's like... Yeah. He's like, we got Stan and Ollie. Yeah, that was fucked up. He's also, it's like, what is with... I mean, I guess what else are you gonna do? But, like, that's, like, everybody's go-to whenever they're fucking trying to get help. They're like, let me jump out and be the scariest fucking thing possible.
Hey, Bart, check out my chainsaw and hockey match.
Pretty much, yeah. I was talking about third act slowdown here. I was like,
Yeah, I'm with you. I was ready for it to wrap up. And that's only 90 minutes. A sweet 90 minutes.
Which sucks because it's like...
There's just nothing to it. Like, it's amazing Blob effects and cool kills.
Yeah. It's like... I like you said, like, the government showing up and stuff, but then it's like... them being incompetent just kind of takes over the film. So it's like, they get the explanation out of the way, but then they kind of just stick around and nothing really happens. Except for the scenes where, like, the girl's running from the Blob.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Did you like how there was a Deus Ex bridge jump?
Yeah.
I was like, come on, dude. You set up a bridge jump in the first act, you pay it off in the third act.
Yeah. I'm like, why were those old people playing with that drone in Halloween and it didn't pay off?
Yeah.
It's like, what? Asshole head scientist gets pulled into the sewer. So he gets his, he gets fucked, essentially.
It's just desserts.
Yeah. The Blob's like...
He was dessert for the Blob.
Yeah. He was like, yeah! They try to, like, kill this thing with a flamethrower, and, like, then they find out, oh, it's... doesn't like cold, but it's like... Didn't somebody already find that out earlier in the film? They just didn't say anything? I was
the
like...
audience knew.
Whoever found it out needs to report. They've got, like, the snowmaker, which I was like... pretty fucking convenient, I guess. Yeah, they kind of do like a thing here at the end of the movie where they have like the main like lady be like Ripley essentially.
Yeah. The ending kind of. Did you ever see Phantoms?
Sounds familiar.
Affleck, you're the bomb in Phantoms.
Oh, okay.
The ending's kind of similar, where like it's in a small town just like this, and all the townspeople like gather around to fight the like final showdown.
Except for this one, like everybody runs and like one person fights. They're like, yeah! So they end up ending the Blob with liquid nitrogen and C4.
Another great effects moment.
Yeah. And it's like, man, I guess they're lucky that they got every single fucking piece of this thing, because if they miss one piece, it's like as soon as it falls out, it's on again. And as soon as you think that, they cut to like the Reverend earlier in the film has become like essentially like a snake handling Reverend. He went from like a small town just like collared Reverend to like he's in like the deep south with like, you know, giving speeches in a tent essentially, like snake handler and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, what, you know, the end times are coming and stuff. And then he goes to like, they're like, when's it gonna happen? And he's like holding the Blob and he's like, soon. And I'm like, Jesus.
The Blob will return in Thunder.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, holy fuck, dude. But, what'd you think about that added part at the end there?
I didn't mind it.
Yeah. Do you think they actually thought they were going to make a sequel?
Yeah.
Or do you have any idea why they didn't, I wonder?
I don't know.
Because they watched it and they were like, oh, wait, this doesn't have anything interesting in it.
I don't think this was a huge hit when it came out. It's become a cult hit over the years, and I think recognized as a really good horror movie of the 80s.
Probably like
better horror movies.
Killer Clowns or whatever. Yeah. Where at the time, I'm sure it was like, what the fuck is this?
But we always complain about remakes, but there are some good ones, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
The Thing is a remake, and it's like the best horror movie of all time.
Yeah. And,
so there is some merit if done.
Fright Night was great.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that I don't think it's really so much the remake. It's just being like, if you want to make a movie and do it again, I'm doing it again. That's totally fine. But if you're doing it from a place of like, let's fucking get as much money as possible and cash in.
The Thing remake,
right?
Yeah.
Let's or prequel, I guess.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of an issue.
Or we need to make a movie to save our IP. I'm like, cool, good reasons.
Amazing
nice
Spider-Man style or whatever.
But I'll do 7.95 for this as well.
Yeah.
How about you?
Probably like a 6.95. The effects were great, but like the movies kind of sucked. It was kind of boring in certain parts. Not all the whole movie, but like,
I feel you.
It just sucks because like it is like a classic, but like
you demanded more.
The effects were classic, but it's like I'd rather watch like the original Fright Night or I don't know. I would say Killer Clowns, but I think it's in the exact same boat as this, where it's like, you know, cool kills, effects, but when it comes down to like actually getting stuff done with the town people, it's like so
you like
freaking I'm laying down for a long winter's nap, me and my kerchief over here. Yeah.
Nothing was stirring except a mouse. Like, what was that mouse doing? Tell me.
He's like, oh, I'm cooking. It's like, what are you stirring, bro?
Cool.
Yeah,
Remake week in the books.
that's true.
What's up
So
for the next episode?
For the next week, and our last week, Ravenous week with some special guests or guest, for Halloween.
That's good because I'm ravenous.
Oh,
for
shit.
Ravenous.
I can't believe it. You've done it to me again, George. I'm like, what are the charges? Yeah. Okay, man. Well, watching a succulent ravenous meal, ravenous movie. I guess that's all I have to say about this film and that other film for this week.
Yeah. Me too.
Cool, man.
Until next time. Bye.